This is the inside of the Hobby Toskana exclusive 750. If I firstly move to the main control panel, I can turn it on by firstly pressing the button just here. Once it comes on, it will let you know if you're connected to the main supply. Up the top here, it will display the time. It will give you a condition of the leisure battery and how much water is in the fresh tank. To now turn the 12 volt system on, just press the 12 volt button just here. We then have water pump on and off. We need the water pump on to be able to get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. And then at the bottom we have awning light on, awning light off. We then have internal temperature, condition of leisure battery and vehicle battery, and how much water is in the fresh tank. To get into the settings menu to alter the clock, just hold down the button just here and then use the arrows to alter the time. You can also in here change other bits and bobs to do with like the batteries, etc. This is more for the workshop to set up, so it's best left alone. If I now drop underneath, we have the controls for the Truma heating and hot water system. We have two sets of dials. If we begin with the top one, this one here picks the power source that you want to use to run the heating and the hot water system. So you'll see at the top here we have two wavy lines. Wavy lines represent mains electricity. So if we're hooked up to the main supply, I would now be using main supply using 2 kilowatts. If I now rotate, I can drop it to a single wavy line, which is main supply using about 1 kilowatt. So just dependent on the amperage of the site you're on to try and avoid tripping. If we have no mains connected, we can pop it onto the little picture of the flame and run the system on gas. If I continue, we then have a flame and a single wavy line. This is dual fuel mode, so it would use the mains and the gas together. Very handy in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly, and it will only use the gas as it is required. And then lastly we have gas and mains electricity at 2 kilowatts. So for the moment I just go back up to main supply, and then we come to the lower one. You'll see at the moment we're in the center just here, so we're off. And if I now flick this up, I can now heat hot water to 40 degrees, or if I flick it up again, I can heat hot water to 60 degrees. You'll see an amber lights come on here just to let you know that it's working. This will only appear if you are running the system on main supply. If you are running it on gas, it will go out, and instead a red light will come up if it fails to light. This amber light down here will disappear once the water is at the temperature you have asked. If we now go back to off, this little flashing green light here is just because I've already had it on and off, and it goes for a little cool down. Wait until it disappears and then continue. So if I now flick it down, we have a little picture of a flame on its own. Up here the flame represents gas, but down here the flame just represents the blown air heating system. So now I've literally still running the system on main supply, and I've just got the heating on its own without any hot water. We then control the temperature of the heating on the inner dial here, 1 being the coolest, 5 being the hottest. And then lastly, if I want hot water and heating, I then flick it down again, and you'll see that we have hot water at 60 degrees and the heating on. If I now come to the seating area, and I just remove the cushions. You'll see now that I can fold this section over, and then you'll see that there's a clip just there. Just undo it, and then you can then fold this part back, and then this would then make the two travel seats. If I continue to just lift up, you can see underneath here that we have the fresh water tank just here. As you can see, we can gain access to it at two separate points for cleaning. We then can gain access to the storage compartment underneath this bench seat just here. This can also be got to from the outside. We have the television just here. Before using, come to the wardrobe, and you'll see that the television aerial is in here. You'll see that we have the digital amplifier just here, on and off on the top. Control the boost just here, and this particular one has a signal finder in it, so if you've got a nice strong green light, you know you've got a strong signal. To raise the mast, just undo here and here, and then push the mast up, and then get it into the position that you require. This green window here represents the back of the aerial. Once you've got it in the position you require, then lock it back into place. Never over tighten these collars because you can split them. You'll see at the moment we're in H for horizontal. We can flip the aerial onto its side into the vertical position for additional tuning if required, just by turning the tail just here. Do make sure that the aerial is down for travel. But if I now just return to the television, if we just turn it on the side, if when you turn your television on it needs retuning, just literally hold the button down just here, and it will then take you straight back to the retune menu, and then just hit OK, and then it will commence retuning back in. Once it's retuned itself in, it will flash straight back up, and then we just have the normal stuff. We have the television guide, etc. just here. DVD player in the side. Gas isolation taps just here. They're all in the on position, but we have hob and cooker, we have fridge and heating and hot water just here. They can stay like this. I will say if you smell gas in the motorhome, just go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. Hob just here, push in, twist. You do need a little igniter to light them. Across from the hob we then have the oven. Operates just here. Just push in, twist to ignite. And then for the Dometic fridge, we're off at the moment just here. If we want to use it on gas, just flick. This will automatically ignite itself. If it fails to light, the light here will begin to flash to let you know. We then have main supply. And then lastly 12 volt maintain. So this will illuminate in red when the engine is running. And this will keep the fridge cold whilst on the move. We then have the unit's anti-condensation jacket on and off. Anti-condensation jacket needs to be on in the warmer months. This will stop a build-up of condensation at the back of the unit, which would then run down and form a puddle underneath it. In the cupboard just here, tucked at the back, tucked down here, there is a safe. We then have the washroom, so we have the shower at the back. Do make sure the shower screen is secured for travel. We then have the cassette toilet. To open to the cassette, slide the grey lever across and then push to flush. Level indicator just here to let you know when the cassette needs emptying, and then close back up again. And then we have the fixed bed at the rear. And then we have the electric hecky. Storage underneath the bed. If we now just move down to the front, we have the solar panel regulator just here. We don't really need to do anything with this, it will just smart charge the batteries as required. As you can see, we can just scroll through and look at everything, so we can look at the condition of the batteries, how many amp hours within them, etc.